Look, it's a bucket of rocks. Let's tumble them. Actually, these rocks are from one of my coworkers. We were talking about rocks and polishing, and her and her mom were on the shores of Lake Superior on the Michigan and the Canadian side looking for rocks, and they picked up a little bucket of rocks. So I said I would tumble them for them. So let's do that. I was looking at a few of them, and they look like they've already been polished. I'm pretty sure these have been polished. Not too great. So I'm thinking somebody polished them and didn't like them and threw them in the water for people to find, or they've been polished and forgotten that they were polished, or could be the garden rocks, the half kind of polished, waxy looking garden rocks you find for garden centers. I'm not quite sure, but I'm 90% sure that these are polished. You're not going to find them like this on the shore. This is what you would find on shore. But we're going to polish them all anyways. And hope we get a good turnout. There's all kinds of rocks in here. Quartz, epidote, unakite, probably some basalt. Some stuff might make it, and well, I know some stuff will make it. But there's going to be some in here that probably won't. It depends on their hardness. But we're going to tumble them all anyways and see what happens. And I will be using a 12-pound MJR tumbler. Okay, so let's throw the rocks in there. So that's about half full. I need to go a little bit more, so I'm going to add some of my own rocks. And what I'm going to do is throw in a bunch of banded iron, because I know there's none in there right now. And it's easy to tell them all apart. So, throw some of those in there. Okay, I think that's about enough. I have to add water now, and then about 8 to 10 tablespoons of the 60-90 grit. And then I'm going to tumble it for 1 week. So I like to make sure I'm about over half full, at least 3/4 full. And then you want to add the water next before you add the grit, because if you add your grit first and then you add water, and you add too much water, you have to pour some out, you might lose some grit. So it's best to add your water, figure out how much your proper level is, and then you can add your grit. So let's do that. Okay, the water's in. I got it just below the level of the top rocks, about an inch or two down. So now we're going to add our grit. That's what it looks like, coarse grit. This is 60-90 grit. I'm going to put in, this is a 5 tablespoon or teaspoon? Tablespoon. 5 tablespoon container. I put about 10 tablespoons in there of grit. And we put our lid on, seal it up really good, throw it on the tumbler. I like to get the air out of it, just in case there's a little bit of buildup of air. If there's anything in there that has air pockets, that I can have a little bit of leeway. Put it on there like that. semi-tight. And let's put it on the tumbler. And since I've been making this video, my vibratory tumbler has been turned off. I've been tumbling rocks, I'm tumbling guitar picks and stuff like that. So I need to turn that back on right now. Gonna let that tumble like this for 7 days. "48 hours later." Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. Seems to run okay without the barrel on it. That slides. So that could be a problem, but it seems like the whole thing just stops when I put the barrel on there. There's a bearing slipping. Oh, how do you fix that? Is that my problem? Never seen that before. Okay, I'm going to put the barrel on there again. I have to use both hands, so give me 1 second. Okay, well, see it stopping every once in a while. I wonder if I have too many rocks in it. I'm going to take some of the banded iron out, see what happens. But first, I have to put these back on the vibratory tumbler really quick before they dry out on me. I mean, I was in the middle of doing this, rinsing my rocks, and then I heard the tumbler stop. So, yeah, let's get this done first, and then see what's going on with the other one. Hikes! Alright, I took out what I could find. It's probably about a pound or so, maybe a little bit more. That's what's left in there, about a half a barrel. And, I'll put it back on the tumbler and see what happens. If not, I'm going to have to... Oh, I don't know. I'm screwed. This has only been day one. Like, this is the second day of using this tumbler with this load. So, all this grit's going to be wasted if I happen to... Oh, I got to figure out what to do here. I don't like it. Excuse me while I go swear for a while. Okay, I'm going to let this go for a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on it. See what happens. A little bit lighter of a load. It does seem to still slow down just a tad. But I'm going to keep my ears open. I have to go to an event for a few hours, so I'm kind of worried about this. Nope, it just stopped. Ah! It wouldn't be as bad if this was my rocks, but this is somebody else's rocks. They asked me to do this for them, so it's kind of a bummer now. It's not going to hurt their rocks, it's just I don't know what to do now. I do have a 4-pound Lot-O-Tumbler, so I guess my next video is going to be on how to take this thing apart and fix it. Crap. So I think the safest thing to do today, since I have to go out for a few hours, if this thing happens to stop, it's going to burn out the motor, and who knows what'll happen. I don't want to take that risk. I'm going to have to waste 10 tablespoons of grit, unfortunately, and I'll see if I can use the 4-pound tumbler. It's mostly a waste of grit. That's the biggest thing. It's not a huge, huge loss, but... Okay, this is the Lot-O 4-pound tumbler. Here's the barrel. I'm going to plug this in and see if it works. It's been a while since I used it. I can't remember why I stopped using it, so let's see. Okay, we're good there. And the belt seems to be really good. So I have to transfer the rocks from the 12-pound into this one and use as much grit as I can. I just doesn't. Oh, hang on a minute. That's not going to work either because there's a different amount of usage for grit that I have to put in here. I only have to put in 4 tablespoons instead of 12 or 10. So yeah, that's going to be a waste of grit. What a bummer. But at least I can continue tumbling the rocks. And it only stopped once in the last few minutes, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's my MJR envelope. Hopefully I have parts in here. Paperwork. Oh yeah, just what I was looking for. So I have some belts. I think the first thing I'm going to try is changing the belt. I think the tumbler should be okay for half an hour or an hour or whatever. I don't think the grit's going to dry that quick because I've had power go out before and everything was fine. So I'm going to risk it, put the tumbler aside, take the base apart and see if I could change the belt and see if that fixes the problem. Okay, it's been running about a half an hour now with no problems, but I'm still gonna take it apart. My biggest fear is while the barrel is sitting that the grit's gonna harden, but I think we should be okay in a short amount of time. Depends how long it takes to change that thing. I've never had to change it before, so I know this cover would have to come off, and that might be about it. All right, so here goes nothing. Yeah, that belt's really loose. Feels like it. So there's what we have. I don't think there's a way to tighten that, but that looks pretty darn loose. If I hold that, yeah, that slips. So belt's in good shape though. Wonder if there's a way to pull that down. What's that say? Set screws are tight. Pulley grooves align straight up and down from each other. What? Oh. I see. I bet those are those right there. Loosen that and you can tighten that belt, I think. So if I do that, oh, okay, see that? It pulls on the belt, makes it tighter. Now I can't tighten it though. I'll have to tighten it for the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that because the screw might be turning also, and I can't get at the screw because that shaft is in the way. There we are. Okay, the belt feels tighter. Put the cover back on. So I can find where to put the screws. There they are. That wasn't so bad. I'm hoping that's what the problem is. That just sits on that side, doesn't it? Nothing connects. Nope. That's weird. But I guess all you need is a protective plate just so you don't get your hands caught or anything caught in there. And that's about it. Alright, well, let's bring this back in there, throw the tumbler on it, see what happens. It's not even turning at all. That's not good. Oh, I see what it is. Right there. I slid it over too far and it's rubbing against here. It's getting caught on there. So I got to loosen it off just a little bit, pull her back.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, I tighten the belt. Should be okay. I'm going to keep an eye on it for a while. I still have an hour at home, so we'll see what happens. So when I woke up this morning, the tumbler stopped again. We're 2 days early, but I'm going to call it done. I don't think 2 days is going to really much matter. Those rocks were pretty much tumbled anyways, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. But I don't want this thing stopping again and burning out the motor or worse. I don't know why it's sticking, because the bumper at the back seems to be fine. It's spinning with it, so it's not rubbing a whole lot. I don't know. It's weird. That's some nice rocks in here. Very pretty. A lot of quartz. The banded iron stuff is all mine. I put that in there for extra rocks, if you remember. But, yeah, they're looking really good. Probably ready for stage 2. So now what I have to do is look at these one by one really quick, keep them wet, and make sure there's no cracks and holes and stuff like that. And then put them all in a bucket of water, because I have to wait till my vibratory tumbler is done, which will probably be 20 minutes or half an hour. Then all those stages are done. Then these will go into the vibratory tumbler for 9 days. Okay, we are at the end of the 220 stage. I did all the burnishing and the clean out. I'm just drying off a rock here to show you. That's what it looks like after the 220 stage. Got a little tiny bit of a shine to it, not much. That's it wet, of course. So all these are going to tumble for 3 more days in the 500 grit. And I'm going to try to do this while I'm holding my camera. See how the rocks just kind of shake around instead of rotating? It's a lot more gentler on the rock. So now, this is the 500 grit. Now we're going to add some borax. couple of tablespoons of borax. Put the lids on. Put our elastic band on so the caps don't come off. And then I'll check it a few times each day. If the rocks get a little bit slower, if they're not tumbling as well, get a spray bottle and give her a few squirts of water until it goes back to normal. And we will see you in 2 days, 3 days. Alrighty, here we are at the end of the 500 stage. This is some Unikite. I'm going to dry it off. It's starting to get some shine to it. That's a good thing. So we're going to move on now to the 1200 stage for 2 days, and then the 8 to 14,000 grit for the last 2 days, and see how that comes out. But these are looking really good.
48 hours later.
And here we are after the end of the 1200 grit. Looking really good. Got one more stage to go. That's the 8 to 14,000 grit. That's just going to give it a little bit more polish. But so far it looks great. All right, 2 more days and we're done. Okay, this is a mixture of the 8 to 14,000 grit and 1 tablespoon of borax. This is going to go for 2 more days and we are done. And they're done. Just gotta let them dry for a little bit longer. This one here is dry. Turned out pretty good. That's the one we looked at last time, the 1200 grit. This is with the 8 to 14,000 grit. Not too bad. I thought this one's kind of cool. It has a little bit of blue to it. A bit bluish gray, I guess. Mostly quartz, Unikite, epidote, some basalt. I think they found these at Whitefish Point. That's in Michigan. Pretty much across from where we do our rock hounding. And we are in Ontario, Canada. Still a little bit wet, but getting there. So there you have it. I hope they're happy with the rocks. I hope you liked the video, and we will see you next week. Take care.